Happy Thursday and happy Facebook Live time. I am running a little bit behind today, so hopefully you haven't been waiting for me. Just was ready to queue up my phone, and I had it on video. It's like, hello, I need to be on Facebook. You know, we all do goofy things sometimes, right? So anyway, here I am. Happy Thursday. Hi, Megan. Hi, Kay. Yay. Glad to see you here. So just sharing my little goofy mistake with queuing up my video instead of my Facebook. I was videotaping earlier, so, just to be fair to myself. That's the reason why. Anyway, I have some fun projects for you today. I'm doing the sneak peeks of the October Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle. So I've got 3 projects for you. Hi, Kathleen. Hi, Linda. Yay. And of course, a couple of quick announcements, but I've got 3 projects, so I'm just going to dive right in because whenever I do 3 projects, even if they're simple, it takes me a while to get through. So the quick announcements are, you guys probably know there's a designer series paper sale going on this month, 15% off select designer series paper, so really awesome. In past years, Stampin' Up's done like a buy 3, get 1 free thing. I like this 15% off thing a whole lot better. Hi, Barb. Hi, Diana. Yay, I know I'm missing some names. Hi, others who are joining, and I'm missing you. Anyway, so pretty cool, 15% off. I had somebody the other day buy 3 packs of designer paper, all on sale. Gotta love that. Okay, so the other big news is that I have finally put out information about my new class, my October technique class called Glazed Mosaic. This is my own personal name and invention, if you will, variations of other things I've seen out there in the world, but it's my own twist, so super excited about it. I shared it in my newsletter yesterday and put stuff on my website, and I also redid a bunch of stuff on my technique-focused pages on my site. So instead of all of the classes that I've offered for technique classes on one page, they each have their own little page. So if you go to the technique classes available now page, you'll see these cute little thumbnails of the sneak peeks of all the technique classes I've offered over the last couple of years. You can click on that and then go to a page dedicated to that specific class. So I think it'll be a little bit easier to navigate and digest that information. So I also had a thumbnail up there, and I worked all day long on doing these edits on my technique pages. I swear I was kind of cross-eyed by the time I put out the newsletter, and hopefully it was coherent. But my goal was to get out the technique stuff yesterday. So by the time I was finishing up the glazed mosaic materials, I kind of just lost steam. So my thumbnail was not my favorite, my collage, my sneak peek. So I put a new sneak peek collage up today on the page. So if you haven't looked at it yet, definitely take a look at it. Some close-ups of this super cool technique that we'll be doing. So if you're not familiar with my technique classes, bottom line is I do a deep dive into one particular technique. So it might be something you've seen before, or it might be something you've never seen, but I go into sort of all the nuances of it. We do 3 different projects, and I share different ways to do each technique and tips and tricks, and I have 2 PDFs, one for the projects with dimensions and supplies, another with photographs of each step in the process, plus a very comprehensive video. So it's quite a lot in the way of content, I think, for a class. It is exclusive content, so the only way to get it is to take my classes. So definitely check it out on my website under the classes and tutorials tab, and there's a couple of choices there. So check it out and let me know if you have questions. I do offer pretty much every option for every human being on the planet that might want to take my class. So you can get it with product, you can get the class with a materials kit, or you can just get electronic materials. So there are lots of different choices. If you have questions, just let me know. I'm happy to help or have a phone conversation with you if it's overwhelming. All right, so that's it for my announcements, and let's just launch right into the project. So the featured suite this month for the Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle is the Magic in This Night is what it's called. I always want to call it Magic in the Night, but it's this night. This night, not any other night. Anyway, it's supposed to be the Halloween suite. It is the Halloween suite, but I have nothing against Halloween, but I don't tend to make any Halloween cards. It's just not my thing. A lot of the papers have spiders in them, and I hate spiders, Not too fond of bats, although I think they're pretty, they're nice looking when they put them on paper. But anyway, the beautiful thing about the designer paper in this suite is that one side is really completely neutral and doesn't have anything to do with Halloween, and the other has to do with Halloween. So all of my projects today, actually one of them has a Halloween greeting on it, but doesn't have to. So I'm excited to share them because I think this is just beautiful paper, and I'm using a couple of other things from the suite as well. So I'm excited to share those as well. So I'm going to face my camera down and we're going to get started. Hi, Christy. I'm looking right at my phone, so I noticed that you're in there. Yay. Okay. So, all right. So for this first project, I'm actually using a sentiment, this Have a Beautiful Day from the Beautiful Autumn. I've been using this a bunch lately. There's great sentiments in this set. And I happen to have a sentiment piece that I had sitting around from another project that I didn't use, and it worked perfectly for this design. So I'm starting with a design that was created by Patty Dolan, one of our design team members, Simple Sweet Stampers design team members. And when you guys know I do product shares, right? So I had done the product share, and I got a quarter of a pack of this Magic in This Night designer paper. Well, this is what I have left. Literally that piece and a couple of scraps. And then, of course, part of this suite is also the black glimmer paper, which is, it's actually not very thick, which makes it easier to work with than maybe some of the other glimmer papers. You can cut it out easily, but I just love this paper. So I made a bunch of cards with this designer paper. There's going to be a photograph on my website when I do this blog post of all the different variations I did. But the long story short is, or maybe that was the long story, by the time I got around to doing the designs for the Simple Sweet Stampers, I had almost no designer paper left. So I was really limited on what I could do and had to get creative. Darn, right? So one thing you can do to yourself is use almost everything up and then work with whatever else you have. So I'm going to show you Patty's design, and then I'm going to show you what I came up with based upon what I had and what I was inspired to do. So this is her design. So it's a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock designer paper, and then she's cut out a couple of the wreaths. One in the designer paper and one in solid cardstock. And then she's used this beautiful ribbon that's part of the suite. I forget what it's called, but I'm going to show it to you. It's called the metallic mesh ribbon. So check this ribbon out. This is the best stuff. You could use it for Christmas or like pretty much anything. It's shiny, and anyway, I just love it. So anyway, so this is what I started with. But I didn't have exactly those papers, so I came up with my own version. So I'm going to start with a basic black card body, and for mine, I decided to use this pattern right here. It actually has stripes on the back. I've got adhesive on this already, and this is just going to sit right on the front. And as you can see, there's spider webs in there, right? But it's not necessarily Halloween. There's roses or flowers, but that's just kind of like a garden, right? If you really want to be picky about it, as far as the spider webs, maybe you think it's for Halloween, but it's pretty neutral in my opinion. All right, so the next thing I'm going to use is a piece of black glimmer paper. Again, that's got adhesive on the back side. So instead of doing the white, because I'm working with a darker background, I decided to do the black glimmer paper. So she's got white and it's sponged on the edges. Now, you guys may recall that, I'm going to get my spacing here. So I've also got this sentiment, Have a Beautiful Day. It's on crumb cake in gold. I'm going to be bringing some gold into this, so you'll get to see what I'm going to do. But the last 3 weeks, I've been doing this thing called building blocks of a design process. And I've started making graphics for my website, for my projects, to just kind of pick apart and explain my thinking in the design process and why I pick certain things, and just to kind of make it easier for people to take the next step and do their own creations. Now, when I redo these Simple Sweet Stampers projects, it's like exactly what I might do when I'm picking apart a design. So I hope that in going through this and by changing it, it kind of helps you to pick things apart. So I started with a layout. I've got my same basic layout with my black glimmer paper on there. It's a little bit smaller than what she used, but I'm going to do the sentiment at the bottom, which will kind of fill up the bottom. And then I die cut some of my wreaths. So for me, I'm using one of the pieces of brushed metallic cardstock. This is the one I call white gold, because it's not quite a bright gold, and there is a brighter gold in the pack. It's sort of whitish. And I'm using a piece of what I call the brownish copper brushed metallic cardstock. This is the second wreath in the set of the Wreath Builder dies. And I'm going to put glue on the back side. I've put some already on there, but because I'm putting this onto a piece of glimmer paper, I'm going to need quite a bit of it. So I'm going to add a couple more dabs of it here and there. And I don't want it to be so much that it oozes out, but I don't want it to be too little that it doesn't stick, right? So, and you guys may remember the trick I used last time, or a couple times ago, where you can put the glue on and let it dry. But with glimmer paper, you really need it to be wet, I think, for it to really stick. So I put a little bit on, maybe 15 minutes before I went live. And so it's a little bit dry, but not too dry. So I'm just adding some more in for good measure. And I'm going to put that down flat on the front. So the other nice thing when it sort of semi-dries is that you don't have to worry about how you touch it quite so much, because you don't have to worry about the glue being oozy and wet and getting on your fingers. Okay, so that's going down there flat. You can see it's a little bit oozing out, but that'll dry, and it should dry clear. And then for this wreath, which is really my favorite one in the set, I have put dimensionals on the back side, taken the backings off just to make it super quick. And I'm just going to lay that right over the top of my copper, my brown copper one in the background. Now in this case, the black dimensionals are really good because of course it's on black. So isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh, it's so dramatic. It just kills me even to look at it. So now this sentiment, like I said, was a scrap, an extra piece, and I keep a little pile of sentiments I've stamped and done things with that but haven't used. And I felt like this color of the crumb cake went nicely with the white gold and just kind of tied it together. I played around with putting something black, even a strip of black glimmer paper. Actually, they call it glitter paper. I want to call it glimmer paper because that's what we used to always call it. Underneath it, but it just didn't seem right. So it's there's still something, like I want to put like a little bit of black on either side, but it's gonna have to be okay. And then I took a piece of copper trim and made a little bow, and I'm just going to attach it right there at the bottom with a glue dot. If you guys have any suggestions or thoughts, ideas on, should I bring some black into the bottom there? I tried to frame it in a piece of black, but I didn't like that either. Just let me know. I'd love to hear your creative ideas. So there's my little bow. And then I'm going to take some of these lovely gold glitter enamel dots. These came out, gosh, a while ago, but they carried over into the current catalog, so I love that I still get to play with them. And I'm going to take a bunch of my glitter dots, yeah, gold glitter dot, enamel dots, and see how she has little dots on here. I'm going to put those here and abouts on mine, probably a couple different sizes. And just got to pick my spots. So you can see pretty obvious, like how the design is similar, how it's different. And you could turn around and do your own color scheme and make your own version, probably pretty easily. Using some of the itty bitty ones too. I think I'll stop there so you can now see my little tiny glimmer dots on there. What do you guys think? Might have sponged the edge. Oh, the edge. Now that would be a good idea, yeah. Maybe with a little bit of black. Anyway, so there is my card. It's my redo, right? The starting point was the layout, right? And not only that, but the designer paper. Color scheme was kind of somewhat determined for me because the designer papers come in some different colors, but I only had certain ones left, and it happened to be this one. So having the variables limited is kind of makes it easier to design. So that is my first finished card. Thank you, Patty Dolan. Patty is actually a good friend of mine. We traveled in Utah together before on a Stampin' Up! Event some years back, and we just had a ball. We went south to the Kanab Stampin' Up! Manufacturing facility and toured the facility, and it was just a hoot. It was so much fun, I can't even tell you. We held up these pieces of cardstock that were literally half the size of our bodies. Anyway, Patty's a very sweet person, and I love her. Okay, so next project is this one is made by Vicki Parsons, and this is her design, very much Halloween, right? So for mine, I'm going to do the same layout, and I have an oval feature in the center as well, slightly different. Oh, I see good ideas coming through, yes. That's a good idea. Let's see, the 1 3/32 inch mat. Wow, I thought I was the only one crazy enough to cut small pieces, like tiny increments like that. Glad to know I'm not the only one. All right, I'm going to have to check out more of your comments when I'm able to focus better. Okay, so I'm using the layering ovals dies. I ended up using 3 of them, 1 that is the scallop and 2 that are without the scallop. And let's pull out my cardstock. And again, I was kind of limited on what I could do because I only had certain designer papers left. So that one is actually almost done. I could just finish that one, but this is close. Okay, so here is my card body, okay? Regular card body, but it's scored like this. So 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 1 5/8 and 4 1/4, and that creates that fold that folds back right there. Now, to get this to be Halloween, I only had 1 stamp set that had Halloween in it, and it was this tags set. So I've used the Sending a Halloween Hello image for mine. And actually, well, I guess you tried another one as well. Okay, so this, got it all mixed in. Need a bone folder. All right, I'm gonna whip this together really quick. Not that it's a race or anything. So I got all these pieces with cardstock on them already. I'm using my striped piece along the left, and these pieces are measured so that they go all the way top to bottom, 5.5 long. Now that is a feature that's a little bit different from what Vicki did, and Vicki also had glimmer paper or glitter paper, the black, in behind her strips of designer paper. I chose to let the glimmer paper only be on the around the sentiment. Just make that piece really pop. Now, before I put this on, I have cut a piece of Whisper White. This is really my inside and the piece that becomes the place where you write. So I'm going to place that in here first because that's going to help me with my spacing. So I've got a little bit of space on the left, and then I'm going to have a little bit of space on the right, but I want this strip to be centered, so I have the same spacing on both sides. And like that. So then I'm going to have the tiniest little, what I think is kind of a elegant strip of white in between the two. Oh, more suggestions for the sentiment. I love it, you guys. I just saw one from Lorley. It's Vicky. Hey, I'm showing your card. All right. See? Where's Vicky's name? Right there. I saw you. I am showing a redo of your card based upon what I have in my stores for Simple Sweet Stampers. So welcome. So glad to see you here. All right. So there's my fold. And then I have die cut my pieces. And I've got a piece of the black glimmer paper in an oval. Also got adhesive on the back side. And then for this one, I have created two different embellishments, two different fronts, right? So this one is sending a Halloween hello, and yay. And then the second one, I used the sentiment again from the Beautiful Autumn set. My heart is grateful for you. And I just love this sentiment. And of course, because I don't send Halloween cards so much, I thought, well, I'll make the second card with this sentiment and it'll be a little bit more useful for my regular card sending. So I'm going to take off my backings. And because I'm attaching this to glimmer paper, I'm going to put some white glue on it. And this way it'll sort of absorb into the glitter paper and help it to really stay. I don't think it would stay too well if I just attached it down with the dimensionals. So there's my two different versions of my sentiment piece. And then this is, I thought was a super cool fun trick. So Vicki used some of this mesh, what is it called again? I have it here. Let's see, metallic mesh ribbon. I love this ribbon. And now let's see if I can do this. So I've got a big fat Sharpie. Now I think she used blends, maybe. I think that's maybe what I saw, but I don't have a black blends. So I just am using a black Sharpie along the sides. And it really just kind of softens the look. And I don't know how much she put on there. If she covered it a lot, but I'm just going to kind of do some accents on there, soften it a little bit, but keep a little bit of the glitter there. And then what I thought I would do, because I actually haven't finished one of these yet, is place these down just so they would go kind of side to side. And this has adhesive already on the back. Now I just need my positioning. It's up a little bit. So I cut the ribbon so that it would pretty much go end to end. And because I kind of have a thing with doing things, I like the straight on look generally, like things that are squared off. Now I'm saying that, but then when we get to my design, I actually did something different from my usual. I went wonky on my design. Okay, now this is the hard part. Probably should do it. Okay, so there, now it's actually the adhesive doesn't stick because it's on the, see, look at that on the back. Isn't that pretty? I love it. Okay, now to decide if I want it up on dimensionals or if I want it flat. I think I want it flat. So I'm going to grab a little bit more adhesive. And the only spot where I'm going to be putting adhesive is in the middle on this piece. Let's see how well this works. Because I've got the mesh ribbon there, I think it's going to need a bunch. If it doesn't stay on there, I'll just add some more later. So there we go. Probably needs to be up a little bit, but it's okay. I'm just going to go with it at the moment. I might just fix it before I take a picture of it. All right, so there's my redo. Now I think if I'd had the bat to work with and the booze and all that, this was a very cute element. I would have loved to do that, but I didn't have that, so I had to go with what I had. It looks to me like she might have used more of that, the mesh back there. I don't know, chime in, Vicki, and let us know if you're still out there. Anyway, there is my version of Vicki's card. And now we're ready to move on to the second one. I will finish up the other card and I'll put the Halloween on that one, so you guys will get to see both versions on my website. As always, that will be up on my site on Saturday, so I'll be working on the posts tomorrow and Saturday morning, and then I'll have it live. Okay, so last but not least is my design. I actually think mine is the simplest of the three, which is, you know, for me, kind of unusual because I tend to go more complicated a lot of times. But one of the things I love about the Simple Sweet Stampers tutorial bundle is that the designs have to be pretty simple because we do them so that they fit on one page. So my design is simple, and I swear I must have made like 10 different variations of it in different colors with all this designer paper. So hold on to your hats. But it's a super, super simple design. Okay, so I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White right here. This is actually 3 7/8 by 5 1/8 on here. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to finish this card, do this one, and then I'm going to actually show you some of the versions that I've done. So as you can see, I'm doing what I said I almost never do, which is doing the, you know, at an angle, cattywampus kind of look. And then I used some of my glitter paper. Now I can't stand to cover up all this glitter paper, so I made a bunch of these cards and I cut out the center with my rectangle stitched framelit. So I now have all these, probably 10 of these center rectangle pieces that I can now use on something else, who knows what. So now I'm doing my black one, cattywampus to the right, angled this way. And then I've got my designer series paper, which as you can see has some beautiful design on the back. I did make some of my designs with this pretty peacock pattern. I love that. I love that shape and everything. But I also love the flowers on this side. So now I've got adhesive all over it, and I'm just going to angle it the other way back so that it's actually square with the basic gray piece in the background. So let's just get it on there. So I'm trying to make sure that this line is parallel to the gray and parallel to the gray, you know, on all sides. And there we go. Now, I actually left some of my cards literally just like this because I think that paper is so pretty with the glimmer paper on peeking out, and I played around with sentiments and I just couldn't stand but to cover it up. But let me show you some of the other things that I did, and one of the elements that I had, I'm going to actually put on this card. Let's see if this piece is big enough. I've used a whole roll of this, the mesh ribbon, and just bought 2 more rolls because I have another project planned. In fact, one of my club projects for November is going to use this ribbon with, believe it or not, the peony paper. So pink with this mesh ribbon. Anyway, it's going to be beautiful. So on some of my designs, and that's not long enough, tied my mesh ribbon around the card. It uses a lot of ribbon, but it also looks really pretty on the inside of the card. So let's just do that, show you how pretty this is. It also ties up really easily. So funny story, when I was doing my product shares for this particular share, this ribbon, you know, I had to cut all the ribbons to be the same size, right? So normally I would, well, I don't even know how to describe what I did normally, but with this ribbon, it was hard to do what I normally do. So I actually had to lay it out, you know, like across my living room and then fold it back on itself till it ended up being, you know, 4 equal pieces. It was pretty funny. And then at one point, my daughter was helping me hold on to it as well on one end or the other. So look how pretty that looks, just fanned out. Can't you just see it on like a, I don't know, Christmas present or something? So I'm kind of cutting it at an angle. It's actually kind of how I usually do it, but with this ribbon, it's kind of especially pretty and pronounced. Can you guys see? I hope I haven't frozen. I look funny. It looks funny on camera. The timing seems off. Anyway, I hope it looks okay to you guys. I see a heart. Yay. Thank you for the heart. More hearts, please. All right, so that is one version. Now, I might use that little scrap because it's just too pretty to waste. But, and I might want to move that up, but just pretty, right? So let me just show you some of the other ones that I did. There's another one of the same one, but a different paper, right? So that's it's actually a different pattern altogether. And then on this one, I didn't use the gray layer. It was a little bit more simple, but I put a thank you in there and sponged around the sentiment. And then on this one, the one that I kept plain, that I didn't do the ribbon on here, I actually popped up the black glitter paper so that it would be just a little bit raised up. It didn't work to raise it up with the ribbon just because it kind of got in the way. But that's another variation. And like I said, I have probably 10 other variations that were thank you cards that I've actually already given away. Some of you may have gotten them for thank yous for orders you've placed. And so I don't actually have them to show you. But I will, like I said, have a photograph of the big pile on my website when I post all of the photographs for these projects. So let's bring the other ones in so we can see them all together, and just for fun. Pretty, right? I think it's pretty. What's your favorite? This one has to get moved up. I'm actually going to do it right now. Look, it looks so much better up high. There we go. Now I feel so much better. I got some adhesive down there. All right. I'll ask you guys what you think, but I'm just going to leave it there. All righty. So I'll be excited to read your comments. And I hope you guys have enjoyed these and seeing some alternatives to Halloween projects with this gorgeous, gorgeous designer paper. And I hope you'll check out some of the other patterns in my photographs of the other projects. You can see some of them here. So there's one here that's flowers. It's got all the flowers and the colors of the designer paper. And of course the bats, and then this paper I showed you. Anyway, I've had a ball with this paper. I only had a quarter of a pack, but I made, I don't know, it was like 15, 20 cards, maybe with these even more. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera back around, and we'll just finish up, and I'll let you go on your merry way. Okay. Get on top of the camera. All right. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed those projects. They're pretty simple. From a design standpoint, when you start with a layout, I think it makes it like the easiest. Making the decisions around design, the first decision is probably the hardest, the first and second, and then once you have that, some of the pieces come together more easily. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the projects today and saw something new you might not have appreciated before. So, all right, so just quick recap on the announcements. Don't forget the Designer Series paper sale that's happening now. And make sure to check out my glazed mosaic technique class, even if you just want to go and look at the sneak peeks and check out the pretty little images that I have there. They're very, very close up. So, but they are intended to show some of the neat elements of the technique itself. So anyway, I will be back. Same time, same channel next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with something fun. Who knows what at this point. If you have requests or suggestions, always please leave them in the comments because I love not only pleasing you, but having ideas for what to do next, because there's always a million things to choose from. I'm so glad you loved the building blocks process. I've done now 3 graphics in 3 different blog posts where I kind of lay it out, and I want to keep improving it. So if you check those out, let me know what you think. Let me know what might be more useful. I'm trying to fit in, the basic details on just one page. So I can't put too much detail in there. I don't want to be too wordy, but I love to hear from you guys. So let me know. So I hope to see you back next Thursday, same time, same channel. and have a wonderful weekend and a great week. Bye, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for joining me.